Hi everybody, just doing you a quick recap video on the Ego battery pole cutter. I've got the hedge cutter attachment on there. I've just started doing this conifer hedge. That's taken me less than 10 minutes. I'm just halfway through the side. What I'm doing you a video for is, I don't know if you saw my previous video last year on this machine. Now since then, now I like what happens on the petrol hedge cutters when you cut stuff too thick. Inside here you've got the two blades moving up and down on a cam inside the base here, and it gets quite warm, and normally with the petrol ones you get a bleed nipple. If you can see there, that bleed nipple in there. Now the Ego one didn't come with a bleed nipple, and last year the gearbox blew up. So what happens is it gets hot, and then one blade rides over the top of the other one in the cam and breaks a bit inside there. Now this was getting hot, and I took it back to the shop because it was still under warranty, and he said, "Oh, the gearbox is bone dry, you haven't put any grease in there." I said, "Well, why should I put any grease in? It's brand new." So the long and the short of it is they repaired the gearbox under warranty, and I spoke to the chap, and we put in that extended bleed nipple there, because the gearbox is sort of sealed into two sections. So we put a long reach bleed nipple in there, and you can see a bleed nipple in there. So every sort of 20 hours I squirt a bit more grease in there, because you've got like a felt section here that stops the crap going in, but it doesn't stop the water going in, and that's what happens is the water ingress gets in there as the grease dries, seizes, and then obviously it seizes up, and that's what causes their damage. So just bear in mind, if you've bought this must be, now I'm in the UK, and I know in America they've been out for a couple of years, but this is the sort of the series 1 version. I don't know if the next one out will have nipples on the gearbox there. As the machine goes, it's pretty good. The only thing that is a bit of a bugbear is this attachment for the, I might have said last time, this attachment for the harness is a bit of an afterthought. On the petrol machines you have a little lug pre-formed onto the handle here. You can just clip your harness in, because this is quite sharp under here. When you put your hand underneath, you catch fingers on there. That's quite hard. And the only other thing which is not annoying, but like most machines, when you press that button to pull the trigger in, the spring on that trigger, by the time you've done half an hour's cutting, your forearm from holding that trigger in is dropping off. You know, when you do a big job where you're there for 3 or 4 hours, you're swapping hands, your forearm, it really does tell on your forearm. Whether that will get softer in time. See, I do most of my work grass cutting, and this time of year, I'm in midsummer now, I do all my hedge cutting, shrub pruning. If you're using it all the time, I guess maybe that spring might get a little bit weaker, but for domestic use, you're not going to get the use out of it, and that spring's not going to get any softer, and it's quite hard. That's the only bugbear really, but I've got the 4 amp battery on there, which balances it quite nicely. With the harness you don't notice the weight at all. Well, that was just a little update on the Ego 56 volt battery. I'll never go back to petrol again. Now at the top of here I use the hand machine. The only trouble with the pole cutter, it's hard to sweep as you cut. You do a cut to cut back, and then you sweep your cuttings off so it falls on the floor. The pole cutter, because you're such a long way away, it cuts through it and leaves it dead on the top, and it's hard to sweep it off. So I generally use the pole cutter for the face. I cut a notch in the top for me to get up, then I get up on that, and then I use the handheld petrol one, battery one, to sweep the top off. But more often with big conifer hedges, it grows quite thick on the top, and I don't want to damage. I bought the small hedge cutter for doing my topiary shaping stuff, so now and again I will get the petrol one out to cut the tops. That's if the petrol one bloody works, which is why I changed over to battery, because the petrol one always plays up. And after threatening to throw it in the scrap bin after not using it for 18 months, it started up straight away. So it will probably work until I take on a big job, and then it will play up again and I have to use the battery one. But I'm thinking of getting the brush cutter attachment that goes with this section here. You can buy all those multi-tool heads. This is the multi-tool machine with the shaft. See the streamer I've got, which is, you can get the streamer attachment that goes on the multi-tool, but I've got the other streamer where the motor is at the end and there's no shaft. You can get lots of attachments to go on there. I'm thinking of getting the brush cutter attachment and the edging tool for a couple of my jobs. But anyway, ego power.